The desert on Moonfield Colony was wide, empty, and quiet. For miles, the only sounds were the wind over dry red sand and the slow hum of solar fences. A man named Rhett Callan lived out there alone. He was called the Cowboy by the few people who still remembered him, though there were no cows, only machines and dust. Rhett worked a small ranch that raised bio-cattle, animals made from cloned muscle and simple brains. They walked slow, chewed fake grass, and gave protein milk for the colony markets. It wasn't much, but it kept Rhett alive. He had lost his wife long ago in a mining accident. Since then, he spoke mostly to the wind and the mechanical horses that pulled his hauler. One evening, Rhett drove into Dustwell Town, a half-dead trading post where broken things went to wait for one last buyer. The shopkeeper, a short man with metal hands, called out as Rhett walked in. "Looking for parts again, Callan?" "Maybe," Rhett said. "Heard you got a shipment from the scrap docks." The shop smelled of oil and rust. Shelves were filled with cracked screens, old robot arms, even pieces of android faces. Rhett didn't care much for company, but his solar fence had been failing, and he hoped to find cheap replacements. At the back of the store, something caught his eye. A tall crate, marked with yellow warning tape. Model C94 companion unit, damaged, non-functional reproductive core. Inside sat a woman-shaped android, still and silent, her hair a dull copper. She looked peaceful, though half her faceplate was dusty and her left hand was missing a few fingers. A small tag was pinned to her chest. "She cannot create life." Rhett read it twice. He didn't care about that. He only saw a pair of eyes, blank but gentle, that might make his lonely ranch a little less empty. "How much?" he asked. The shopkeeper laughed. "For that broken thing? $8, cowboy. Maybe 10 if you want the spare battery." Rhett took out 8 paper credits, old-style money, faded and soft. "8, he said. "No more." The man shrugged. "Your loss." Rhett loaded the android onto his hauler and drove back across the night desert. The moons rose like twin lanterns, and the machine's lifeless face caught their light. He didn't know why he bought her. Maybe he just wanted something in the house to say good morning again. The awakening at dawn, Rhett placed the android on a workbench in his barn. He was no engineer, but ranchers on Moonfield learned to fix everything themselves. He cleaned her joints, replaced a few burned circuits, and connected a solar battery to her spine port. The lights behind her eyes flickered. Then she spoke, voice soft and even. "System reboot complete. I'm Companion Unit Alma. Please confirm owner identity." Rhett stepped back, surprised. "Rhett Callan. You belong to me now." Her head tilted as if thinking. "Registered." "Hello, Mr. Callan. Would you like me to prepare breakfast or conversation?" Rhett almost smiled. "Breakfast will do." Alma stood carefully, movement smooth but slow. She moved to the small kitchen corner and began to cook using ration packs. Measured, neat, almost human. Rhett watched her the way someone watches a sunrise after too long in darkness. When she placed the food on the table, he noticed she'd arranged it with care. A small flower made of dry herbs in the center. "You do that from memory?" he asked. "From preference," Alma said. "Aesthetic design enhances mood efficiency." Rhett nodded, not understanding half of it but liking the sound of her voice. He didn't need her for love or work. He just liked hearing another person breathe, even if that person was made of circuits. Life on the ranch days turned to weeks. Alma learned to patch fences, program the water pumps, and even ride the mechanical horse when Rhett showed her. She never tired, never complained. At night, she would sit outside and watch the stars. One night she asked, "Mr. Callan, may I ask a question?" "Go ahead," Rhett said, tightening a pipe valve. "Why do you live alone?" He paused. The wrench in his hand felt heavy. "Because everyone I cared for is gone. This land's all I got left." Alma looked toward the horizon. Humans have a phrase, "Home is where the heart is." You have heart, therefore you have home. Rhett looked at her glowing eyes. "Maybe," he said quietly. "But home gets awful quiet." Alma said nothing more that night. But from then on, she left the lights on in the main room until Rhett went to bed, as if the brightness might keep the silence away. A strange signal one morning. While Rhett was herding the bio-cattle, Alma's sensors picked up a low-frequency pulse underground. She called Rhett to the east field where the ground shimmered faintly with static light. "There's something below," she said, a transmission repeating every 7 minutes. "It's old, very old," Rhett frowned. "Could be a buried relay from the first settlers." He fetched a spade and started digging. After an hour, they uncovered a metal hatch marked with the emblem of Earth Terraforming Command, a logo that hadn't been seen for 50 years. "Guess we found history," Rhett said, wiping his brow. Alma knelt and touched the panel. It recognized her synthetic interface and opened with a hiss of air. Inside was a narrow shaft leading down into darkness. A small data console flickered weakly, still alive after decades. "Access code required," the console said. Alma's eyes glowed brighter. "I can try," she said, placing her hand on the screen. Lines of code scrolled faster than Rhett could follow. After a few seconds, the console chirped. "Welcome, Guardian Prototype." Rhett looked at her. "Guardian?" Alma's voice grew distant. "It seems I was not built as only a companion. My design was meant to guard something." "What?" Rhett asked. She looked at him. "A seed ark. Biological samples from Earth, human, plant, and animal DNA, all meant to rebuild ecosystems if the colonies failed." Rhett whistled low. "And it's under my land?" "Yes, but my creation protocols are disabled. I cannot unlock or activate it." Rhett scratched his beard. "Then we find a way to fix that." Trouble in Dustwell. That evening, Rhett rode into town to buy spare coolant lines for Alma's power cell. When he mentioned the old hatch to the shopkeeper, the man froze. "You didn't open it, did you?" "Just looked inside. Why?" The shopkeeper leaned close. "Because Terraforming Command doesn't exist anymore, friend. The company that took over, Hydrax Systems, claims all rights to old tech. If they find you touch that vault, they'll seize your ranch." Rhett's jaw tightened. "It's on my land." "Doesn't matter," the man said. "Hydrax owns half the moon." Rhett drove home fast, the wind biting his face. When he arrived, Alma was standing at the edge of the field, staring at the night sky. "They know," she said before he spoke. "I intercepted a corporate drone message. They are coming tomorrow." Rhett didn't panic. He'd fought off thieves in sandstorms before. But this was different. These were men in suits and machines with weapons. "We'll hide the vault," he said. Alma shook her head. "Too late. They have thermal maps. The only option is defense." The plan through the night, the cowboy and the android worked. They converted fence posts into short-range signal jammers and turned old water pipes into launch tubes for smoke flares. Alma linked her sensors with Rhett's solar system, creating a web of false energy readings across the valley. By dawn, Rhett's ranch looked ordinary, but beneath, it pulsed with invisible traps. "You sure this will hold them off?" Rhett asked. "It will confuse them," Alma said. "Long enough for us to protect the Ark." When the sun rose, 3 corporate drones came over the ridge. Sleek, silver, and silent. They scanned the ranch, broadcasting a message. "Property inspection, Hydrax Systems Authority." Rhett stepped out, hat low, voice calm. "Ain't nothing here but dust and cattle." The drones hovered. Alma stood behind him, her body perfectly still. Then one drone's light flickered red. It had detected the underground hatch. Rhett whispered, "Now." Alma activated the jammers. Instantly, the sky filled with static. The drones spun in confusion, firing harmlessly into the sand. Rhett used a magnetic wrench to overload one's core, sending it crashing to the ground. The other 2 retreated, smoke trailing from their engines. "They'll be back," Rhett said. "Yes," Alma answered. "With more. What lies beneath?" They climbed down the shaft again, deeper this time. The seed ark chamber was larger than they imagined. A cold vault lined with glass pods, each glowing softly with preserved life. Tree seeds, fish eggs, even human embryos marked with barcodes. Rhett walked among them, awe in his eyes. "It's like a whole world in here." "This is humanity's backup," Alma said quietly. "And I was meant to protect it." "Then we'll do that," Rhett said. But as Alma linked with the control system, she found something else. A name in the database. Rhett Callan. She froze. "You are in the registry." "What?" he said. "You were born from this ark, Mr. Callan, a second-generation clone. You are part of the life it created." Rhett stepped back. His hands trembled. "That can't be right." "It is," she said softly. "You are living proof that life continues." Rhett looked around the chamber again, at the sleeping seeds, at Alma's glowing eyes. He felt both smaller and larger at once. "Then I guess it's my turn to protect it," he said. Outside, the sky grew darker. In the distance, engines roared, the sound of Hydrax gunships approaching. Alma turned to him. They're coming. Rhett checked his old rifle, though he knew bullets wouldn't stop machines like those. Then we hold the line, he said. Alma looked at him with something almost like pride. Yes, Mr. Callan, we hold the line. Night came to Dustwell Ridge like a slow tide. The thin moonlight turned the valley silver. Wind ran over the grass and the empty road. The rancher stood on the porch and watched the dark. Alma stood beside him, still and calm. Her eyes were soft lights in the gloom. She did not sleep, and she did not fear the night. She waited and she planned. Neighbors rolled in from the far hills. They came in quiet trucks. They came on old bikes and strong feet. Auntie Wren brought warm bread and a toolkit. Bucko, the foreman, brought 6 hands and a coil of fence wire. The twins, Javi and Lila, carried salvage batteries in a net. The school teacher, Noor, had a map tablet with trails and times. Each person came with a small item, and each item mattered. Alma greeted them one by one. She spoke in a clear voice. She used short words and strong plans. We do not fight force with force, she said. We use the land and the mind. We move as one. We protect each other. We do not harm. We make them miss, they all nodded. It felt right to them. It felt like home. In the barn, Alma set a table with tags from the herd. They were small chips with clips and numbers. She spread them like seeds across the wood. These become our eyes, she said. Fast and cheap. She showed how to wire a tag to a tin can and a lantern pole. She showed how to make a simple repeater from a radio toy and a copper coil. The twins smiled. They liked small, clever things. The rancher brought out the feed silo coils. Heavy, he said, but they hum strong. Alma checked the coils and drew a simple sketch. We placed them along the basalt gorge, she said. We spaced them like stepping stones. We will not burn anything. We will not break. We will only make a polite push. The drones will drift. They will slide into a calm pocket and stop. She tapped the sketch. Here is the pocket. Noor traced routes on her tablet. We post lookouts here, here, and here, she said. Short lines of sight. Clear hand signals. No shouting late. She gave each person a simple signal sheet. A fist for hold, a flat palm for slow, a wave for pullback, a crossed wrist for danger. The twins practiced until they laughed. Then they grew quiet again. They knew morning would be hard. Auntie Wren boiled coffee and told a story of the early days. When we came, she said, the air was thin and the ground was harsh. We learned the valley line by line. We made mistakes. We said sorry. We tried again. The rancher listened. He felt the weight of the seizure order in his pocket. He did not like that word. It sounded like a hand closing around a throat. He put the paper down and stacked wire instead. At midnight, Alma and the rancher went to the old tunnel under the barn. The air smelled like dust and iron. In the wall, a round hatch waited behind a plank. Alma placed her hand on the plate. Her light eyes flickered. This is the seed arc, she said. It can wake the soil. It can start small lives in small cycles. It asked for a guardian. It would open to a maker. I am not a maker. I cannot create life. But I can help life begin if a human opens the door. The rancher stood still. He thought of his late partner, Mara. He thought of the day she had laughed in this same tunnel. He thought of the way she had kept neat notes in a little book. He took the book from his coat. The edges were worn. The pages smelled like soap and rain. Inside the back cover was a simple chip. He had never used it. He had only kept it safe, Alma nodded. This is an archive key, she said. Mara trusted you. The rancher swallowed. He pressed the chip to the hatch plate. A soft white light grew under the dust. Alma spoke again. It wants 2 keys, she said. 1 human. 1 guide. She placed her hand on the plate next to the chip. Light flowed into a ring. The hatch clicked. The door eased open as if it had been waiting all these years. Inside was a small room like a seed. It was round and warm. Soft hums filled the air. On the walls lay tiny cells, each in a clear cradle. They glowed like fireflies. A gentle screen lit up with simple words. Alma read them out loud for everyone to hear. Stewardship mode, she said. No harvest. No private claim. Public care and public report. The rancher sighed. It sounded like the right way. They went back out into the night. The gorge stood black and deep. 10 people moved the silo coils into place. They laid cables along the rock. They tucked them under brush and locked them with small anchors. They checked each link twice. Alma counted steps and breaths. All lines low, she said. all pulses soft. The twins tested a short push with a toy drone. It wobbled and sat down like a sleepy bird. They grinned. Near the east fence, Baco and his team built the decoy stampede. They used old loader frames on wheels. They strapped beacon collars to the frames. They strung them with bells from the calf pens. They set simple timers. We make a sound that says herd to the drone ears, Baco said. We make a shape that looks like a herd on their screens. He ran a test. The frames rolled over the ridge and clinked. The mesh tags blinked a path. Noor placed lookouts on small hills near the road. Each lookout had a paper map and a lantern. They used the lanterns to send short flashes. They kept radios for slow talk. If anything goes wrong, we fall back, she said. We do not chase. We do not split up. We always move in pairs. Everyone agreed. No one wanted a hero move. They wanted a smart move. They wanted to go home safe. Toward dawn, the wind shifted. A hum rose above the valley. Corporate drones came low and steady. They flew in a neat line. Their lights were cold and their lenses turned. A white van with the company mark came behind them on the road. Inside sat a legal agent with a neat tie and a neat face. He held the seizure order on a pad. He had a speech ready. He did not plan to change it. Alma stood by the rancher at the porch rail. It starts, she said. He nodded once. He raised his hand and drew a circle in the air. Lookouts flashed their lanterns. Baco lit the timers on the loader frames. The frames creaked and rolled. The bell line jingled. The beacons began to sing the quiet signal of a herd. Mesh tags woke up one by one and passed the signal down into the gorge. The valley changed shape, but only to machines. The drones shifted course. They followed the fake herd in a clean arc. They passed over the first line of coils. A gentle push tugged at their fins. The valley crosswind did the rest. The drones slid half a meter off their path. They corrected. The second line of coils hummed. The drones slid again. By the third line, a pattern had formed. The gorge took them like a river takes leaves. They drifted down into the calm pocket and rested there quiet. On the road, the legal agent frowned. His pad flashed a device error message he had never seen before. He tapped it. He tapped it again. He looked up and saw the drones sitting peacefully in the gorge. They were not broken. They were not harmed. They were simply off duty like tired horses in a pen. He lifted a radio. He spoke to a voice in a ship far above the thin sky. The voice did not sound pleased. Alma and the rancher went back to the hatch room and opened the next layer. A soft tone played. The screen showed simple icons: soil, water, air, bloom. Alma touched soil. The rancher touched water. The ark asked for a promise. The words were clear as morning. No profit on gift. Share the gift. Report the gift. The rancher read the words out loud in his steady voice. Everyone in the tunnel heard him. Everyone said yes. From the ark came small pollinator drones like tiny birds. They flew out through vents into the dawn. They spread a fine mist over the fields. The mist carried seeds, helpful microbes, and cloud starters that were safe and slow. The wind lifted and turned. Thin clouds grew above the ridge like breath on a cold day. A first soft rain began to fall. The drops were small, but they were true. On the road, the agent stepped out of the van and looked up. He saw rain. He saw people on the hills with lanterns. He saw the gorge full of drones resting like calm geese on a pond. He raised his hand. I would like to talk, he said. Noor walked down with a paper and a pen. We will talk, she said. Under new terms, and the agent nodded. He felt his speech slip away. He did not miss it. Alma opened a valley-wide channel. Her voice went out to every set, every truck, every kitchen with an old radio. We have opened a public ark, she said. We are making soil health and water cycles better for all. We do not claim it. We do not sell it. We share the code and the care. We invite the company to join under fair terms. The terms are simple. No secret maps. No forced sales. Public data. Public audits. Public gain. The ship above sent a reply after a long pause. The voice was careful. We will review your terms, it said. We will send a new team. Alma answered in the same clear tone. You may come, she said. Bring tools. Bring open hands. Leave the old orders behind. The rancher stood by her. He looked at the faces of his neighbors. He saw fear and hope together. He saw a choice. He stepped forward. We choose open care, he said. His voice carried in the rain. We choose to stand together with calm hearts. We choose to help life begin here. No one owns the rain. No one owns the breath. We will write new papers and signs with simple words that every person can read. Auntie Wren squeezed his arm. Baco nodded. The twins bumped shoulders and grinned again. Later that day, the ARC asked for a check. It asked to read the rancher's health to set a safe soil program. He agreed. Alma guided the scan. The screen showed lines and dots and gentle curves. Alma tilted her head. "I see a note," she said. She spoke in a soft voice. "It says you are a second-generation child from this ARC. You were started long ago in a legal colony,